Walt and Hank's game of cat and mouse often results in some of the most intense moments in all of Breaking Bad. But Hank wasn't the only one threatening to expose Walt. So here are all the times Walt almost got caught. Please let me know if I missed any crucial moments in the comments. And with that, serial bingers, let's get to it. Number 1. Tuco kidnaps Walt and Jesse. In this intense moment, Tuco Salamanca kidnaps Walter and Jesse, and their attempt to use ricin against Tuco fails completely. Faced with limited choices and the watchful gaze of Hector Salamanca, Walt and Jesse engage in a struggle with Tuco. Eventually, Jesse manages to shoot the unpredictable drug kingpin, saving them from the situation. Of course, Hank shows up and kills Tuco in a shootout, while Walt and Jesse hide a few yards away. Number 2. What's in the bag? $500,000 in cash. Deciding who was sharper between Gus Fring and Walter White is a tough call. They shared a sneaky tactic, hiding in plain sight. In the episode No Mas, as Walt packs his bags during Skyler's distressing divorce request, Hank, helping with the move, notices a particularly heavy duffel bag. Curious, Hank questions Walt about its contents. Walt, with a serious expression, reveals it holds $500,000 in cash. Hank takes it as a joke, missing the chance to peek inside and discover the truth. It's moments like this that leave us on the edge of our seats. But as you probably know, this wasn't the only time Hank was moments away from finding out the truth. Number 3. Willy Wonka or Walter White. When Hank examines Gail's journal and wonders what the WW dedication means, he shows the note to Walt, hoping Walt, being a great chemist, can help. Hank asks Walt if he has any idea what WW could stand for. Willy Wonka, Walter White, Hank quipped. If you pay attention, Walt twitches a bit when Hank says his name. Walt laughs, raises his hands, and says, "You got me," but then quickly turns to Gail's transcription of Walt Whitman's poem, Leaves of Grass, to shift Hank's focus. This stops Hank from exploring all the possibilities. It's the second time Walt openly admits his crimes to Hank, and once again Walt is very lucky, considering Hank's deductive skills and Gail's clues to reveal the real Heisenberg were beyond his control. But if you think that was close, the next number will make you question his actions. Number 4. Walt's drunken revelation piques Hank's interest. In the 4th season, Walter White's growing power gets to his head, clouding his judgment. Despite the risk, he revels in the admiration for his criminal achievements. Although Walt successfully convinced Hank that Gail was indeed Heisenberg, he can't resist seeking further acknowledgement when Hank praises Gail's drug empire. In a tipsy state, Walt proposes that Gail might have imitated the real Heisenberg, suggesting the true mastermind could still be at large. The morning after, Hank stumbles upon a potential clue, questioning why a vegan like Gail would have a napkin from the Chicken Man's restaurant. This unexpected discovery reignites Hank's curiosity and prompts him to question the inconsistencies surrounding Gail's role in the criminal hierarchy. Number 5. Hank discovers Walt's RV with Heisenberg inside. The White family suspects Jesse of selling drugs to Walt, prompting Hank to look for Jesse in Walt's RV, unaware it belongs to his brother-in-law. To make things worse, Walt and Jesse are inside when Hank arrives, and Walt's worsening cancer increases the risk of a coughing fit. This turns out to be Walt's closest call with Hank up until season 3. As Walt is about to inspect the RV, the junkyard owner intervenes, trying to convince Hank to leave. But this doesn't stop Hank, it only slows him down. But who do you call when you have nowhere to run? Better call Saul. Saul's secretary, Francesca, then poses as a police officer and dials Hank's number, telling him that Marie has been involved in a car accident and is being airlifted to hospital. Fearing the worst, Hank leaps into his SUV and drives away from the junkyard. Number 6. Hank goes to school. Even though Walt cooked drugs deep in the desert, the DEA found his cooking spot and discovered some equipment from the high school where Walt worked. In the episode Crazy Handful of Nothing, Hank visited the school and noticed that some glassware and 2 respirators were missing. Walt looked really scared, especially when Hank joked, "You don't want people to start wondering about you." At this point, Hank really didn't believe Walt could be a criminal, so he laughed off the accurate suspicion. It was pretty clear that Walt was involved, though. In the end, the table was turned, and the janitor, Hugo, got into trouble. Number 7. The capture of James Kilkelly. When Badger got arrested, Saul Goodman had a plan. They would give the DEA their most wanted man, Heisenberg, but it would actually be James Kilkelly. James would go to prison, and in return, he would get a lot of money. This happened in the episode Better Call Saul, when Badger sat next to the wrong person. Walt had to distract Hank so Jesse could tell Badger to move. Hank didn't believe the arrest, but he didn't connect the obvious clues. Right when the arrest was about to happen, his brother-in-law showed up. Don't forget, the DEA already had a sketch of Heisenberg by then. Number 8. Walt gets into a car accident on the way to the laundry. Walt's bad idea gets him in trouble again after he thought everything was under control. Now, with Hank wanting answers, Walt has to pretend everything is fine. He feels sorry when Hank asks him to drive to the laundry, which is secretly Gus Fring's meth lab. Walt purposefully crashes the car. It's a risky move that only postpones the inevitable, but it gives Walt time to stick to his plans while Hank tries other ways to find out the truth. Number 9. Lionel Salamona spots Walter White at the DEA. After the Salamanca twins attack Hank, many DEA agents gather to donate blood at the hospital where the surviving twin is being treated. Agent Gomez invites Walt upstairs to see him. Before Walt can react, Lionel starts crawling towards him, leaving a trail of blood from his amputated legs. Lionel's behavior is not only scary, but puts Walt's secret in jeopardy. Lionel could have told the DEA agents that Walter White is a batted drug boss, or could have shouted Heisenberg at him. Thankfully, the twins' Terminator-like silence saves Walt. Luck or strategy? Call it what you will, but the next one will make you question the limits of his audacity. Number 10. Walt Jr. calls the police on Heisenberg. After Uncle Jack takes most of Walt and Jesse's money and kills Hank, Walt tries to return home and flee with his family. Skyler realizes Hank is dead and confronts Walt, leading to a fight where Walt threatens Skyler and Walt Jr. with a knife. To protect his mom, Walt Jr. dials the police on his dad, forcing Walt to run away. This is the moment when Walt becomes a one-man army with a death wish, and Heisenberg's future starts looking bleak. Number 11. The security footage. In 737, Hank saw a surveillance video where two unknown people stole a barrel of methamphetamine. The video quality was not great, so Hank didn't recognize that it was his seemingly innocent brother-in-law doing the theft. In Season 5, when Hank finally figured out Walt was Heisenberg, he rewatched the video and revealed the clarity that was initially overlooked. Number 12. Walt and Jesse smash Gus's laptop. After Walter White takes down Gus Fring and burns his lab, he realizes there are surveillance cameras installed. The footage is on a laptop taken by the police, and it could frame Walt and Jesse. With the help of the junkyard owner who saved Walt before, along with Jesse and Mike, they hatched a risky plan to attach a big magnet to a truck. They used it to rack the police station's evidence room without going inside. They can't flip the truck back since it fell due to the magnet's force, but they escape just in time. Number 13. Walt kills Mike because of Gus Fring's men. Walter White's mistakes keep coming back to trouble him, and his growing desperation leads to more and more careless choices. When money stops reaching 9 of Gus Fring's guys in jail, everyone is at risk of being exposed. Walt loses his cool when Mike won't tell him the names of these men, making Walt so mad that he shoots Mike. Gus's men could have revealed Walt, but instead of asking Lydia for their names, Walt chose to murder Mike Armentrout for not telling him, an option that dawns on him a little too late. Number 14. Walter White waits for the authorities outside his RV. Walter White gets scared after trapping drug dealers in his RV and using phosphine gas on them. The RV's engine breaks down, so Walt steps outside and records a goodbye video for his family. He even tries to shoot himself before the authorities show up. This is one of the first times Walt gets lucky because the gun he uses has the safety on, and the sirens he hears are just emergency vehicles passing the RV by chance. Lucky, I guess. But the next situation Walt finds himself in is even more precarious. Number 15. Hank figures out the truth, but gets killed. The big moment arrives in Season 5. When Hank connects the dots, he discovers Walt's copy of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass in the toilet. linking Walt to Gale. Even though this means Hank has caught Heisenberg, Walter White is still in the clear. Hank needs solid proof to reveal Heisenberg's true identity to the DEA. Walt cleverly tricks Hank with a false confession, but it only takes one strong piece of evidence to bring him down. Sadly, Hank Schrader's death crushes this possibility. He loses a loved one, but gains another opportunity. Number 16. Walt surrenders himself to the DEA and reveals himself. After escaping, Walt decides to turn himself into the DEA. However, when he sees Elliot and Gretchen Swartz being interviewed on TV, he changes his mind last minute, and instead, he seeks them out and threatens the couple to channel his money into Walter Jr. Walt isn't as cautious as before. He doesn't mind being seen by his former neighbors when he returns home to get the ricin he'll use to kill Lydia before his final sacrifice. In the Breaking Bad finale, Walter White dies on his own terms, and the authorities never catch him. Did we miss anything? I probably did. Please let me know in the comments, and we appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Peace.